Today on Ignite News, a new study suggests the prevalence of body shaming young women are now facing.
It's like anything. Sometimes, like addictions, they're slow, right? So at first someone just wants to lose 5 pounds and they lose 5 pounds and then people say, oh, that looks great. And then they go, oh, well, I could do this and then I can do this. And then at a certain point, they're active in it.
We take a look at some of the great performances from the Hamilton Music Awards.
We have viewers of over 100,000 viewers watching the show.
And we get an update on the progress of the 2012 to 2015 Strategic Priority Plan. All that and more coming up on your Ignite News.
Good morning and welcome to your Ignite News for Thursday, November 21st. I'm Neil Reyes.
And I'm Marcy Colbert. Here's what's making news. One person is dead and 2 others were fatally injured after a car crash in Ancaster this morning. Emergency crews were called to the scene on Trinity Road at 6 a.m. One person died at the scene and 2 others had to be extracted from their cars by firefighters before being taken to the hospital. Police are trying to contact family members of the victims.
Hamilton City Council has unanimously passed a new plan to make the city safer and more friendly for pedestrians. Ignite News reporter Noah Salo has a story.
The pedestrian mobility plan is set to change the way the city looks at road development. Councillor Jason Farr explains.
So we look at, in short and simply, fixing the problems from the street face or the building face out, as opposed to what we were doing previously, and many other municipalities in Ontario continue to do, the middle of the road to the building. So pedestrians and their needs first, because we're all pedestrians, even those who drive on a regular basis.
Despite unanimous support, some councillors, like Scott Duval, want to ensure existing roads outside the core still receive attention.
But let's not forget that we haven't even completed the old system yet, where a lot of people that's growing up in the mountain, on the inner side, they have sidewalks and roads, but to get to the arterial roads and get to the main attractions of shopping and that, we still have the old rural road with no sidewalks, we got ditches.
The pedestrian mobility plan is set to improve mobility and safety throughout future developments in Hamilton. However, some city councillors want to ensure that older roads are retrofit to improve safety as well. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Noah Salo.
With the City of Hamilton's strategy plan at its halfway point, Council reviewed its accomplishments and looked into ways it can improve municipal planning. Ignite News reporter Rachel Williams has the story.
At Wednesday's meeting of the General Issues Committee, City Manager Chris Murray updated Council on the progress of the 2012 to 2015 strategic plan. The plan is made up of 3 priorities, 13 objectives, and 64 actions. Halfway through the 3-year plan, Murray was happy with how far the city has come.
We're certainly much further ahead than we were about a year and a half ago. For example, intergovernmental affairs policy has been developed. We're advancing the cause of the web. In fact, we're as well moving on lands in the waterfront to get them back so that we can develop them.
Of the 64 actions, 13 are complete. All are aimed at achieving the city's overall vision of being the best place in Canada to raise a child, promote innovation, engage citizens, and provide diverse economic opportunities. Councillors were generally happy with the status of the plan, but a few drew some attention to issues that continue to be ignored. Ward 5 Councillor Chad Collins pointed to the lack of strategy for brownfield property.
Most people would be surprised who live outside of our community, or even those who live in our community, that we don't have a strategic plan, a comprehensive plan that looks at what we're going to do with all those contaminated properties that line our bayfront area. What's our plan to remediate those and reuse them after the companies have picked up and gone?
Ward 8 Councillor Terry Whitehead expressed concerns over distribution of finance.
When you look at the city as a whole, you have to ensure that whatever we do is inclusive, which is a huge issue, and equitable.
Although the city manager is happy with the progress made, he sees more opportunity for improvement.
It's really important for this community to spend some time looking at, the next 10, 20, 30 years, because, imagine the last 20 years what happened. If we had known back in 1990, there would be this thing called social media and how it would influence the way people think and act. If we had known things about the economy back then, would we have planned a bit differently?
The next phase will look at how to better engage the city's community partners and academic institutions. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Rachel Williams.
The RCMP are digging deeper into the Senate scandal involving the $90,000 check written by the Prime Minister's former Chief of Staff, Nigel Wright, to Senator Mike Duffy. Court documents filed on November 15th show that the senior staffers in Harper's office were working in conjunction with conservative senators to make the expenses disappear. Additional documents have been requested by the RCMP, including bank transactions and emails. The allegations against Duffy and Wright, which include fraud and breach of trust, have not been proven in court.
A witness is stepping forward in the sexual abuse trial of a Catholic priest in Iqaluit. The 41-year-old female witness said that she would often go hungry between 1978 and 1982, so she would go to the church for food. According to the witness, 66-year-old priest Eric DeJager would rape and molest her every time she did so. DeJager is already on trial for dozens of sexual abuse charges from other victims.
There's an alarming new trend of women facing body shaming. Ignite News reporter Brittany Medeiros has the details.
From the burden Hollywood puts on celebrities like Jennifer Lawrence and Lena Dunham to be thin to unrealistic photoshopped magazine covers, the pressure to be thin is undeniable. And for some reason, the pressure weighs heavier on women rather than men when it comes to body image and self-esteem issues. A recent study from the Canadian Women's Foundation reveals 1 in 5 Canadians know a girl who says she's fat, and an almost equal amount know one who says she's on a diet. Respectively, only 8% and 5% know boys who say this. Claire Freeman, director of Hamilton's Interval House, runs weekly body image groups at the house for girls and women, and goes to schools and organizes self-help groups as well.
Well, I think the pressures are different for men and women, and for young girls and young boys. And so for girls, being thin, looking like what you see in the videos, what you see on TV, all of those kind of images that they're being fed from a very young age. Even the dolls they play with have distorted body types on them from a very young age. So they're bombarded with those images of what a valuable girl is.
Freeman also gives her understanding on the psychological damage it has on women.
It's like anything. Sometimes, like addictions, they're slow, right? So at first someone just wants to lose 5 pounds, and they lose 5 pounds, and then people say, oh, that looks great, and then they go, oh, well, I could do this, and then I can do this, and then at a certain point, they're active in it, and they don't even know it. And so other people might be noticing it on the outside, but they can't. And then when they think back, oh, well, I need to stop this, then they just can't, because it's now more of a psychological issue that's for them, and it takes a long time to get out of it.
Students at Mohawk College are feeling the same pressures by the media to look perfect.
It's really hard, especially since with all the celebrities and magazines, and even clothing-wise, you have to look a certain way to wear certain clothing and designers, and it definitely puts a lot of pressure on girls, for sure.
Where we see how the media portrays women and the way they have to look, kind of like things like the boyfriend jeans that came out. So you wear your boyfriend's pants, but they're only meant for tall and really skinny women. So yeah, I do think it puts a lot of pressure.
Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Brittany Medeiros.
4 PR students grouped together to create a charity called Change for Food, all for an assignment. Ignite News reporter Paul Tobias has the details.
Change for Food is a perishable food drive that ran for 2 weeks in the G-Wing. People donated by giving canned goods and money. The drive was held by 4 PR students. This money is going towards food banks in Hamilton and Burlington. But how are the funds broken down?
Well, once they gather all of the money, I'm sure there is different costs that they have to cover, administration fees and so on and so forth. I'm not exactly sure the percentage that goes to each individual charity, but I'm sure that information is available online.
The donators wrote their names on name tags. That was later displayed on wall, quoted as Wall for Change. United Way for this student means that it will keep kids off the streets.
Every time I see United Way, I'm a constant donator. I also work with the Hamilton Navy League, so we're in recipient of some of the funds and activities that the United Way does do. And the amount of kids that we have throughout our programs on a yearly basis is phenomenal, and it's a good diversion from doing something out on the streets, getting into any kind of drug activity, alcoholism, and stuff like that. So it's a good tactic and a good experience for them to have a positive role in their life.
With students already busy with school and paying for tuition, donating money may not be a high priority. Troy Heath, who is Mohawk's Executive Director for Business Development and Retail, explains why students should donate.
I think it's a good act for the students to start being involved in because it's philanthropic, where it sets a standard for them going forward in life where, there's people out there that are always less fortunate than you are, and I think it gives them the opportunity to learn that at a young and impressionable age so that when they go into the workplace, they too will maybe say, you know what, I remember that United Way campaign we helped with at Mohawk College. It was a lot of fun. It had a great result. Why don't we try it in my workplace? And all I think it does is set them up for future success.
Change for Food has raised around $500. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Paula Tobias.
Serial killer Joseph Paul Franklin has been executed by lethal injection. Franklin, a white supremacist, was convicted of killing 8 people in racially motivated attacks in the 70s and 80s. He was the first prisoner to be executed under a new protocol in Missouri.
One person is dead and 2 are injured after an early morning car crash in Ancaster. The RCMP are digging deeper into the Senate scandal involving Mike Duffy and the Prime Minister's former chief of staff. Another witness has come forward in the sexual abuse trial of a Nunavut Catholic priest, and the U.S. has executed white supremacist serial killer Joseph Franklin, Missouri. Franklin targeted Jews and blacks during his murder spree in the 80s.
And that's all your news for today. Let's take a look at what's coming up in sports, entertainment, and weather.
The Raptors played at the ACC last night, and we've got all your latest scores from the NHL coming up in sports.
Hi, I'm Noah Salo. Coming up on your Ignite Entertainment for the day, journalist extraordinaire Ron Burgundy dedicates a song to his good friend Rob Ford, and the Arkells and Sheepdogs duke it out alongside their favorite sports teams. All this and more in your Ignite Entertainment.
Hey Mohawk, here's what's coming up with your weather update. Today will be mainly cloudy with a chance of showers and a high of 7. All that and more coming up on Ignite News.
Let's go to Kyler for the latest in sports news.
Thanks, Marcy. In NHL action, the Minnesota Wild headed into Ottawa and handed the Senators a 4-3 loss. Wild forward Danny Heatley returned to his old stomping grounds and picked up a goal and an assist in front of a hostile Ottawa crowd. Jason Pominville, Jonas Brodin, and Mikko Koivu scored for the Wild as well. The Sens have now lost 3 straight games and sit 4 points back in the final playoff spot in the East. The Columbus Blue Jackets defeated the Calgary Flames 2-1 in overtime. Nikita Nikitin netted his first goal of the season, which was the OT winner for the Jackets. Nick Foligno also scored for Columbus, while Joe Colburn got his only goal for Calgary. The Jackets are now 8-11-3 on the year. Moving to the hard court, the Toronto Raptors are now first place in the lowly Atlantic Division after picking up a 108-98 victory against the Philadelphia 76ers. DeMar DeRozan had 33 points and Rudy Gay had 18, helping to lead Toronto to the win. The Raptors are now 5-7 on the season and are the only sub-500 division leader in the NBA. And that's all of your sports news for today. Let's send it over to Noah Salo for the latest scoop in entertainment.
Thanks, Kyler. The Hamilton Music Awards were a huge success as they wrapped up this past weekend at Mohawk College. Ignite News reporter Carlin McGill has the story.
The unique beatboxing stylings from Hashy the Mouthpiece was just one of the many acts featured at the Hamilton Music Awards. Other memorable acts included artists Donna Mara, Buckshot Bibi, Yanis Kapoulis, and St. Alvia. Blues legend and Hamilton native Harrison Kennedy was a featured award recipient. He cleaned house with 5 awards in total, including the prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award. Broadcaster Lyman Potts and conductor Boris Brott were also recipients of the Lifetime Achievement Award. Brott blew the audience away with his timeless performance. HMA founder and producer Jean-Paul Gaultier was happy with the awards overall.
It's great. We have viewers of over 100,000 viewers watching the show, and so this is, I think we can take a little bit of credit for building up Hamilton's reputation as a music city, because we've been broadcasting this since 2004, and people have had a chance to hear about Hamilton and its music community through the music awards and of course other events and other community efforts.
The band Monster Truck wasn't able to make the awards, so their mothers accepted on their behalf. They left with recording and rock recording of the year. Hamilton should keep an eye on the up-and-coming band Allotrope, as they won for New Group of the Year.
The awards gives Hamilton's music scene a chance to come together to celebrate its strength and hard work done over the past year. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Carlin McGill.
Hamilton's Arkels and Saskatchewan's the Sheepdogs have made a little wager on Sunday's Grey Cup Championship. If Hamilton wins, Ewan Rough Rider Curry will be wearing a Ticats jersey on stage, and if Regina wins, Max Tiger Cat Kerman will be wearing a Rough Riders jersey. Let's hope Hamilton wins, if for no other reason than for Kerman's dignity. The legend of Ron Burgundy continues to become more epic. Not only does he play a mean jazz flute, but he's also apparently a good friend of Toronto Mayor Rob Ford. Burgundy dedicated his performance of Loverboy's Working for the Weekend on Conan O'Brien to Ford, an outstanding individual, according to Burgundy. After all, everyone needs a second chance. 12 Years a Slave tells the powerful tale of Solomon Northup, a free black man in the 1800s who was kidnapped, drugged, and returned to slavery. Ignite News reporter Chris Luckett reviews 12 Years a Slave.
You care less about my loss than their well-being.
Master Ford is a decent man.
He is a slaver.
Under the circumstances.
Under the circumstances, he's a slaver. But you truckle at his boot.
No.
You luxuriate in his favor.
I survive. I will not fall into despair. I will offer up my talents to Master Ford. I will keep myself hardy till freedom is opportune.
Oh, Ford.
There are lots of great movies that aren't very fun to watch. Nobody watches Schindler's List or Requiem for a Dream and says, that was fun. But dark or depressing movies can serve a very important purpose, as they often make for the most powerful films. And 12 Years a Slave is one of the most powerful of the year. Based on a true story, 12 Years a Slave tells the account of Solomon Northup, a free black man in 1841 who was abducted and sold into slavery in the Deep South. Northup endured horrific abuse for 12 years before he regained his freedom, eventually writing a memoir which inspired this movie. Important movies have been made about slavery before, like Glory, Amistad, and the miniseries Roots. 12 Years a Slave is arguably more powerful than any of them, largely because it personalizes the incomprehensible atrocities of slavery. By starting with Northup's life of freedom, his slavery feels all the more restrictive, driving home brutal realities that are often glossed over in movies like this. Director Steve McQueen very effectively puts you right next to Northup during his unwavering 12-year quest for freedom, forcing you to experience the cruel life of a slave and daring you not to look away. The reliable Chiwetel Ejiofor gives the best performance of his career as Northup. It's riveting, it's heartbreaking, and it's shaping up to be the odds-on favorite for Best Actor at the next Oscars. This is acting of the highest caliber, and it would be worth seeing the film for him alone. In addition to Ejiofor, though, 12 Years a Slave boasts a fantastic cast that includes Paul Giamatti, Michael Fassbender, Benedict Cumberbatch, Paul Dano, and Brad Pitt. Every one of them brings their A-game to the movie, filling each scene with impressive acting. 12 Years a Slave is not an enjoyable movie. By no means should it be, because the subject matter really isn't something in which to find fun. But it's worth noting before you head to the theater that this is a very dramatic drama. It has a hopeless tone for much of it, and the weight of the movie can be crushing at times. Truth be told, though, that's partly what makes the movie so great. 12 Years a Slave gets 4.5 stars out of 5. For Ignite Entertainment, I'm Chris Luckett.
In today's segment of Tech Talk, we look at a new gaming peripheral for your smartphone. Riley Lenting joins us in the newsroom.
Thank you, Noah. If you like to game on your iPhone or Android, boy, do I have the thing for you. Let's take a look. Controller peripherals for Android have been around for a while, but the Moga Ace Power is the first one intended for the use with the Apple devices. The peripheral is compatible with the iPhone 5, iPhone 5S, iPhone 5C, and 5th generation iPod Touch. The Ace Power offers an interface not unlike the handheld devices from Sony and Nintendo, with 4 shoulder buttons, a D-pad, and 2 analog sticks, along with an earphone jack and a battery pack that can either power the controller itself or recharge the docking device. When not in use, the Ace Power collapses for easy storage.
You know what, if I was a little more invested in video games, I could see it being useful because I'm the kind of guy when I play a video game, I like to have a controller. I never got into computer games for that reason.
For anybody who plays video games, that seems like it'd be a really good idea. It makes it a lot more controversial and a lot more mobile.
I have some friends that really like playing games on their phones, so they'd probably be pretty into it.
While all this may sound impressive, the Ace Power has some of the shortcomings you'd expect from a first go at a new device. Developers are releasing updates to support controller interfaces without knowing much about the Ace Power, resulting in the controls being a bit clunky or just not working. The $99 price point may also be a bit of a concern. Still, the Ace Power is the first of its kind for Apple devices and an important step forward for greater things to come in the future.
Owners of the PlayStation 4 may be experiencing some issues. Reports of a blinking blue light of death have popped up on the internet, but Sony has quickly issued a tutorial on how to save your system. Sony says only 4,000 of the 1 million units shipped are affected. With the release of the Xbox One tonight, we asked you, Mohawk, which next-gen system are you interested in?
Neither. I'd probably go with a Wii U. I like to do things with my hands because, like, I get really bored if I'm just sitting there with a controller, so I want to be, like, smacking stuff or, you know, just, like, wiggling stuff, just having a good time. So definitely Wii U. Plus, like, graphics are too, like, whoa nowadays, you know?
I think the Xbox One. I kind of like the home media center aspect of it.
Definitely PS4.
I'm thinking going Xbox One, but just because of the community. My Xbox experience was a lot better than my PS3 experience, just as far as like people to play with, people not having mics on the PS3. So as long as that community continues, I'll probably go Xbox One.
There's always fun stuff happening here around Mohawk College, so let's take a look at your community calendar.
Tuesday, November 26th from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Awards for the FNAP workshop takes place at the Square in the Fennel campus. Wednesday, November 27th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Comedian James Cunningham makes an appearance and gives his Funny Money presentation. Thursday, November 28th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Fennel campus in room CO66, the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada gives a presentation.
That's all for your entertainment. Let's check in with Ashley Sagato for your weather update.
Thanks, Noah. Today in Hamilton, it will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and a high of 7. In Toronto, it will be mostly cloudy with a high of 8 degrees. Niagara will see a high of 9 and mostly cloudy as well. In London, it has a 60% chance of showers sitting at a high of 8. Lastly, cooling down in Windsor, we can expect a high of 6. Looking ahead into the next 24 hours in Hamilton, this evening will be mainly cloudy with a high of 7. Tonight, we'll see clouds moving in as the temperature drops to 5 degrees. And tomorrow, rain will be ending early in the morning as we sit on the temperature of 10 degrees. Finally, let's take a look into the next 5 days in Hamilton. Toronto will be mainly cloudy with a high of 7 and a low of 5. Saturday, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds and a high of 10 and a low of -2. A mix of cloud will greet us again Sunday with a high of -6 and a low of -7. Monday, we will have a 40% chance of flurries with a high of 0 and a low of -2. There's a chance of flurries coming in Tuesday and a high of 2 with a low of -2. That's all for your weather update. Let's head back to the news desk with Neil and Marcy.
Now it's time to check out our regular feature, Pay It Forward, where we feature students doing good things for other students.
year, the United Way auction raised over $65,000. If you would like to check out this online auction to support the United Way, log into your Mocomotion account, click on events, and go to www.32auctions.com/Mohawk College United Way. We asked a few students the importance of donating during the holiday season and if they would be interested in checking out this live auction.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go check out, maybe get some Christmas shopping done, and it's always great to help out charity, so definitely looking forward to that.
It would definitely be something I would be looking into for sure. I'm all up for donating to somebody who needs it. It's not very far to go out of my way to give a helping hand wherever it's needed.
There will be a live viewing of the auction items today from 10 o'clock to 3:30. The viewing will be taking place in the cafeteria across from the Tim Hortons. Get your holiday shopping done early, all while supporting a great cause. With Ignite News, I'm Courtney Audette.
And that's all your news for Thursday, November 21st. For more news coverage, please check out our website at ignitenews.ca. I'm Neil Reyes.
And I'm Marcy Colbert. Thanks for watching, Mohawk.